Hi there, hope you're having a pleasant day wherever you may be. I'm on another adventure here. This one being a little different than my previous one. This one's not going to be linear. I'm not following a road this time. This time I'm going to tackle a region. That region being the Four Corners area of the United States. Now that region largely encompasses what's known as the Colorado Plateau, so a lot of my sites and things are going to be skewed in that regard. However, we're gonna tackle a lot of things on this one. We're gonna see a lot of interesting geology. We're going to see some ancient civilizations. We're even going to throw in a railroad just for fun. So with that said, let's hit the road. So it only made sense to start this journey, you guessed it, at the epicenter, the Four Corners Monument, which is a quirky little geographic oddity. It's like 2 weeks from everywhere. And it's pretty cool. It's a neat little place. It's the only spot in the United States where 4 states come together, and that in itself is pretty cool. However, if you're coming to visit, it's sort of in the middle of nowhere. So if you're gonna visit, this is pretty much the reason you're coming out here. And 2, try to come on a day that there's not a lot of people, because it's a frustrating endeavor to try to get a decent picture of the actual monument while hordes and hordes of tourists, one right after another, just attack it, because there's only one of them. You can't go to like a secret one. But yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing. Just try to come during the off season. I'm sort of on the fringe here, and I can only imagine what it's like during the summer. It's frustrating. A great place to continue our journey would be Utah in Bryce Canyon National Park. Now, Bryce Canyon isn't technically even a canyon at all. It's a part of a larger geologic formation called the Grand Staircase, and it's the top step of it. Geologic forces uplifted the Colorado Plateau, and then erosion started to do the rest on this Grand Staircase, which extends all the way down to Grand Canyon and includes Zion and a couple of other parks, as well as here in Bryce, like I said, the top step of that Grand Staircase. The distinctive features of Bryce Canyon are the hoodoos, as seen behind me. They're formed during an erosional process that involves the melting and refreezing of ice over time. That expansion back and forth eventually creates a window breaks free, and you're left with a hoodoo. However, if you ask the native Paiute people, oral tradition states that these are the remnants of a group that lived here before them. They were punished by the trickster coyote god, and they're forever encased in stone here. Some of them do have sort of a humanoid shape, so I can see where they got that. Not only does Bryce offer great vista points, but there's a lot of good trails here too. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do them. I came in February, and they're all pretty much snowed in. Most of the trails look kind of like this. So for now, this concludes my journey in Bryce Canyon National Park. It was beautiful. I'd love to come back during the summer when hiking is a little more of an option, and freezing my ass off is not one of the options either. Further south is Zion National Park. Many of this park's distinctive features and notable hikes lie within Zion Canyon, a beautiful gorge carved out by the Virgin River. Like many national parks, Zion is one of those places that no matter which direction you look, you're more than likely going to find yourself awestruck. So here I am at the end of the Riverwalk, and it's also the start of the Narrows, which is arguably one of Zion's most famous hikes. The Narrows sends hikers several miles through a steep-sided canyon using the river as the trail, which obviously has many risks. There's a host of reasons why I cannot do the hike today. One is it's just freaking cold. It's air temperatures in the 30s, especially in the shadow here. Really, really cold. And I touched the water. That's freezing. And it's also closed. There's too much water coming down the river, and it's not safe. So no Narrows hikes for anybody today, even the brave ones. Here I am on the trail of another marquee hike in Zion, Angel's Landing. If you've ever seen a picture of Zion, you've either seen a picture from Angel's Landing or of Angel's Landing. The first part has its challenges. It kind of goes up the steep rock wall right about there before cutting in. But then the real challenge is on this section there. Once you reach a certain point, there's chains there so you don't plummet to your untimely demise. The drops are pretty steep, the ledges are pretty narrow. They do warn you that safety is at your own risk. They're very clear about that. But this is it for me. I gotta turn around. I'm terrified. I don't know how I did it the last time, but I really chickened out this time. So I only went like 100 feet. I could still see where the starting was on the chains. It was kind of embarrassing. But on the plus side, 3 different people on the trail complimented my Jaws shirt, so hey, I got that. I'm here at Natural Bridges National Monument. Behind me is Sipapu Bridge. Bridges form when a river, as it meanders, it creates a small little wall in between the meanders. Eventually it erodes through that. Water flows through it. Boom, you have a bridge. Designated Utah's first national monument by President Teddy Roosevelt, Natural Bridges currently features 3 bridges: Sipapu, Kachina, and Owachomo. To get up close, Owachomo Bridge is the most accessible. Its narrow shape means it is nearing the end of its life, and it's merely a matter of time before it collapses like every other bridge before it. In addition to the geologic features, there are also some ruins here of the ancient peoples that used to live in the area. These date back from about 1050 to about 1300. Natural Bridges was pretty cool. If you're in the area, I would say stop by. If not, don't make a whole trip out of it. But there's a lot of stuff in this area, so chances are, one reason or another, you'll be in the area. So swing on by, take a look. Hey, welcome to Colorado. Just outside the city of Cortez is Mesa Verde National Park. Offering some pretty stunning views as you drive, this park's most notable features are the well-preserved ancient cliff dwellings. Okay, so with it being the off-season and it being late in the day, my options were really limited. So I came to the Spruce Tree House because I understood there was a pretty good view, and I'd call that a pretty good view. But what's kind of cool is that nobody's here. It's all closed for the, I don't know if it's closed for the day or the season. So I have it all to myself. I really am just getting a glimpse of this, and I know there are other dwellings too, but I'm only going to be here for a few minutes. This is really, really cool. I think I'm going to have to make a trip during the summer months to come check these things out for good, because this is awesome. So I got to say, Mesa Verde was pretty cool. Not far away is probably the largest city in the region, Durango, Colorado. Situated on the Animas River, the city dates back to 1880 and has its roots in mining that took place in the nearby mountains. Among some of the older buildings along the town's main street is the Strider Hotel, built in 1887 and houses the Diamond Bell Saloon. Though both the hotel and the saloon have seen various renovations over the years, including the saloon space being used as a drugstore at one point, it maintains an Old West charm for locals and tourists alike. Over the years, mining has declined, but Durango perseveres in many facets, such as being a college town and a great location for various outdoor activities like mountain biking and fishing, just to name a few. But Durango is probably best known for the Durango and Silverton Railroad. Here, the Durango and Silverton prepares for its morning departure, and before you know it, you're on your way. Dating back to 1881, this line has run continuously for more than 130 years as we slowly make our way up into the mountains. With some of the coaches dating back to the 19th century, today I'm in the newer Silver Vista, which not only offers great views, but a helpful and informative attendant like Ellie, who helped point this out.
Down here you see these cobbles all cemented together. That's a river deposit, and it is sitting, bam, right here on a granite. You just stepped off the Colorado Plateau.
Here we are chugging along the Las Animas River in some pretty gorgeous scenery. Built for the mining operations nearby, this train makes its way up to the small mining town of Silverton during the summer months. During the winter, avalanches are a risk, and instead you stop at Cascade Canyon for just long enough to have an enjoyable lunch. And with a few blasts of the horn, it's back on the rails and headed for home. Arguably one of the most memorable parts of the journey is the High Line. Now, I'm not quite sure why they call it that. Now I kid, of course, but the stunning views offered are easy to soak in as the train inches along, not just for your viewing pleasure, but for your safety too. So just sit back and enjoy the view and maybe snap a picture or 20. But if you're afraid of heights, try not to look down. Hey, Aren't those mountaintops really nice? All in all, the Durango and Silverton is a great opportunity for train lovers and nature lovers alike, giving you an up-close view of some stunning Colorado scenery, as well as, dare I say, a trip of a lifetime. Next, my journey takes me to Aztec in northwest New Mexico and to the Aztec Ruins. Interestingly enough, the Aztecs never lived here. That was likely an old Spanish term that was kind of a generalization. Instead, they were ancient Puebloan people of the region, which are responsible for a lot of these areas, like Mesa Verde, things like that. Built around 1100, these ruins are remarkably well preserved. At the Visitor Center, you are given a loaner guide to take along the half-mile trail that describes the history of not only the buildings and architecture, but of the ancient peoples that once called this home. I think it's easy to forget that we have our own native peoples and their history, and some of it's well preserved, like here at the Aztec Ruins. Leaving New Mexico, I head to Navajo Nation in northern Arizona. Now I'm in Monument Valley, or more specifically, Monument Valley Tribal Park. It straddles the border of Arizona and Utah, and it's probably most famously known for numerous Western movies. A lot of John Wayne films, things like that. More contemporarily, it's probably known mostly for like National Lampoon's Vacation, or even a scene in Back to the Future 3. Yeah, you're not thinking fourth dimensionally. Yeah, I got a real problem with that. But yes, it's a really famous area. It's kind of one of those like iconic, you just, when you see it, you think of a Western movie. Geologically, this all used to be sea until there was the Colorado Plateau uplift. Erosion started to wash away the softer rocks, and the harder rocks are what's left, and are the buttes, mesas, and totems that you see. To view Monument Valley, you have to go on a 15-mile rocky road that can be kind of rough at times, so leave the Civic at home. You want something a little high profile, something a little rugged, maybe even a rental to beat up, but the road can be a little tough at times. Within the park is the View Hotel, which sits on a ridge that overlooks the valley. Every room has a view and a balcony, makes for great sunrise views, sunset views, right outside your door. It's pretty cool. All in all, a pretty gorgeous place, and I would recommend, if you're in the area, taking a look, checking it out.
We get up early, before the din and the hurly-burly. Oh Lord, we got a lot of work to do. We stay out late, we know Babylon don't hibernate, no. Oh Lord, we got a lot of work to do. In the arms of a bright and rising day, we see how you zombies crawl away. The motorcade is rattling out of sight. The dark parade will fade into the night, 'cause today belongs to the light. Today belongs to the light.
Just up Route 163 on the Utah side of the border is a spot easily recognized by movie fans the world over. It was here that Forrest Gump abruptly decided he no longer wanted to continue running across the country. A picturesque locale that begged for my bad impression. I'm kind of tired. I think I'll go home now. Now what are we supposed to do? All in all, a cool little spot to take some pictures. Just try not to get hit by a car when you're standing in the road. Here I am at Horseshoe Bend, just outside of Page, Arizona. Horseshoe Bend is a meander of the Colorado River where it goes 270 degrees around. It's a really cool spot, nice photo op. sort of an Instagrammer's heaven. Page, Arizona in general, sort of an Instagrammer's heaven. However, just be careful. There's no rails, cliffs are steep, and rocks are loose. That doesn't stop a lot of people from getting really close to the edge. I couldn't get close to the edge without crawling on my belly, so some people, man, they're like mountain goats. But yes, Horseshoe Bend. This is Glen Canyon Dam along the Colorado River just outside of Page, Arizona. Completed in the early 1960s. It created the man-made reservoir behind it known as Lake Powell. This reservoir provides water and hydroelectric power for much of the Four Corners region, though not without its controversy, as various groups like the Sierra Club objected to the damming of Glen Canyon, perceived to be a natural wonder that would forever be lost. Also near Page are Upper and Lower Antelope Canyons. So I just finished the Lower Antelope Canyon tour. I took a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, they asked for no video, so I obliged. 1-hour tours are offered by Navajo guides that take you through the narrow slot canyon, getting beautiful views of the landscape that was carved by water and wind over the millennia. And perhaps most interesting is that viewed from the top, you almost wouldn't even know it was there. And now we leave Page for a slightly larger canyon. So here I am at the Grand Canyon. Spans close to 300 miles in length, gets up to about 18 miles across. It's almost a mile deep to get to the Colorado River, which is responsible for this thing. So this is the Bright Angel Trail from the rim to the river. However, there are many, many signs that advise you not to do that in one day. Yeah, it's arguably the most popular trail in the park. And yeah, the canyon itself, they believe is about 6 million years old. It exposes some rock that's over 1 billion years old. In addition to the geology, during the spring and summer months, you also get the opportunity to appreciate some of the Native American cultures that called this region home. It's definitely interesting coming here after going to like Bryce and becoming familiar with the Grand Staircase, and that this is the lowest step of the Grand Staircase. Interestingly enough though, they never talk about it here. They mention the Colorado Plateau, they mention the uplift, they mention the river eroding, but no mention of the Grand Staircase. Judging from some of the diagrams of those other parks that I went to, I definitely noticed the strata a little more. I've always seen it, but this time it just has a little bit more meaning to it. For whatever reason, on this trip, the vastness really hit me this time. I've been here before a few times, but for whatever reason, the scope of how big this place really is just, I don't know, light bulb. I don't know, it just kind of hit me. But yeah, it's an amazing place, worth checking out. Thanks for joining me on this little adventure of the Four Corners region. By no means was this an exhaustive list of things to do or places to visit. This region is just jam-packed with all sorts of parks, landmarks, quirky little stops, hikes. There's all sorts of things to do in this area. These are just some of the things I happened to hit. I hope you enjoyed the ones that we did go to, like Bryce and Zion, the Four Corners Monument, Grand Canyon, riding the train in Durango. Hope you enjoyed it all, because I know I did. I hope this was helpful for anybody that's planning to come out in this area, take a look around. Highly recommended. It's a really cool region to check out. And I guess I'll see you the next time.